Hi, this is Bexley.
Hey Bexley, it's Rustin with AXS. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful for Veterans Day. If you have anybody in your family that served, thank them for me.
I do. My best friend is actually in the Air Force right now.
That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
let's talk about some music. You grew up with music surrounding you from an early age. How did you find your voice and passion for music?
I remember singing as early as I can remember, honestly. But when I got into rock music at about the age of 13, that's when I really started finding my voice because I wanted to emulate Lane Staley and Chris Cornell, people like them. I just wanted to sound like them so badly. So I practiced all the time and sort of found my voice that way.
You've already been doing this for quite some time. You've already shared the stage opening for Rob Zombie, Lacuna Coil, Sick Puppies, to name but a few. Yet you just turned 22. Belated birthday wishes. Is it strange?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is it strange to be something of a music veteran at such a young age?
It's not strange to me. I'm very happy that I've been able to do it for so long so far. And I don't think that I've learned enough yet. So I'm glad that I have a little bit of experience and sort of know what to expect show-wise, but there's so much more for me to learn just in the business. So it's been a blessing to be able to play so much.
And vocally, Robert Plant and Chris Cornell are sort of your touchstone influences. Where do you draw your musical inspirations from? I believe Alice in Chains is among your favorite bands, but where do you sort of grab it all from?
Alice in Chains for sure. The Beatles are a huge influence on me. I grew up listening to them in the car with my dad. He would always play the Beatles, and he would quiz me on which Beatle was singing. So I was pretty well versed by the age of 5. But the Beatles, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. More recently, I've taken inspiration from a band called Wolf Alice. I think they're doing really cool things, and I love how creative they are.
Every city has sort of its own musical personality. How did Seattle inform your songwriting and approach to music?
It was a really great city to grow up in and play music because all of the musicians in Seattle had a common love for what came out of Seattle. The grunge era, obviously, and Jimi Hendrix and Heart and all of those wonderful acts we all had a mutual love for, and it shaped how we were as a community because all we wanted to do was play together, and I had a lot of great experiences, like meeting new people and playing with all kinds of different musicians and stuff. So it was a really great town to grow up in because the community just played awesome music all the time.
Now you've journeyed to Los Angeles, though, these days. What sort of impact has that had on you creatively?
It's definitely been different because I've had to do a lot more by myself. There's a lot of people here who want to do all sorts of different things and are trying to be the best at it all the time. And I have been more so just working on my own craft, my own sound by myself, and it's shaped me into more of an artist, I think. I'm not surrounded by other people who love the same music as me, so I have to sort of make my own way. I've met a couple people who have similar mindsets as me, but it's definitely way different.
Have you seen the difference from going to Seattle, where you were sort of a big fish in that pond there, to being more of a little fish in Los Angeles? Have you seen an evolution in your style of writing or anything?
Yes, that was the reason why I came down to LA. I wanted more opportunity to work with different people, and I actually met a songwriter who had the same mindset as me, and we worked together on these new songs that I'm putting out. And it was a really eye-opening experience because he helped me sort of build my artistry. Like, he would force me to play everything and do it my way, and I didn't have influence from anybody else. So I'm really proud of the artist I've become in LA because I do everything myself, and I do it my way.
Well, let's talk about the music. That's the most important part of this. A few weeks ago, you debuted your first single, Run, Rabbit, Run, which has been stuck in my head now for 2 days. Thank you very much.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I hope you like it.
I do. It's a very empowering song for women. Tell us about it.
Well, that was the goal, was to make a song that was sort of an anthem for girls. I know it's more of a personal anthem for myself because when I wrote it, I had in mind when I was growing up as a teenager. I was 13 when I started playing rock music in bands, and I was generally usually the only girl in the band or on the show bill or whatever. And it was hard to be confident surrounded by people that weren't like you. And when I got older, I realized it was sort of like an empowering thing to be the only girl in the room, because people would notice that more. So the anthem of the song is to be yourself, be confident, don't be afraid of what might be coming at you, because you can take it.
Absolutely, and that all comes across in the song. And it's really a cool thing, too, because over the course of the time that you've been in the industry, women in music, heavy music, has really grown exponentially over the last just less than a decade.
Yeah, it has.
Now, I understand you shot the video for it while on a trip to visit friends near Toronto. It was all very spur of the moment?
It was, yeah. It was actually a 4-hour drive north from Toronto. My friends lived in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and we were all jamming Run Rabbit Run and like some of the other new songs, because we had a drummer, a bass player, a guitar player, and me. And our other friend is like a videographer in his spare time. So it actually all came together perfectly, but we ended up filming it in my guitar player's driveway. And I know it looks like it's the middle of nowhere, but the lights in the background are actually the headlight on a big truck. And yeah, we filmed it in about 2 hours. It was spur of the moment, and it was a lot of fun. We saved a lot of money.
I was going to say, it's you got what looks like this artsy big production out of something that you just sort of put together on so quickly, and it's a fantastic film. It's got sort of that full darkness feel with the red light behind it and everything.
Yeah, thanks.
When I watched the video, I think I even commented this on the YouTube one. I said it's like this is very Little Red Riding Wolf. There's this vibe to it.
Oh, that was
you. Yeah, that was me. Because essentially,
I loved that comment.
You're essentially hunting the would-be predator, lyrically speaking, a turn of tables, so to speak.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Now, you'll be releasing your debut EP, Lost in the Moment, in January. Is Run Rabbit Run indicative of what the rest of the EP will sound like, or just one shade of your overall sound and style?
I'd say that Run Rabbit Run falls sort of in the middle of how the rest of the songs sound. There's 5 songs total, and Run Rabbit Run kind of lies right in the center because it has sort of an alternative feel in the bridge, but it's also kind of rocking in the choruses and things. But we have a couple songs that are leaning a little bit more toward the alternative side, and a couple songs that are a little bit heavier. So we released it as a single because it was, right in the middle. I think it sort of encompasses the EP pretty well.
Are there plans for a second single from the upcoming EP before its release?
No, so we're going to hold out until January when the EP comes out.
Gotcha, and I've heard a couple of the titles. One of them's called Deal. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So Deal is another sort of anthem-y song. It's more of a politically driven song. It talks about like just being a better person and trying to find your way in the world that is becoming crazier and crazier by the moment. But yeah, it's really about just going out and doing your own thing and being like not a bad person and trying to find your way. So that's what Deal is about, trying to deal with the world.
And it's one of the reasons I wanted to ask about that one in particular is, we mentioned the fact you just turned 22, you're coming up in this industry, so you're already sort of mature beyond your age, but you're also growing up in an era where everything is so different from when I grew up and so many of us did, with social media, right, technology, just how ugly everything is becoming with politics and around the country. How do you deal with that as an artist? How do you infuse that into your music?
Well, it drives creativity for sure, but it is difficult to wrap your head around all of it and like try to find meaning in what we're doing in this political climate. Like I feel like I should be doing something better than just creating music to try to help everybody, but it's relieving to get it all out in words and music, and I think Deal really sort of is that type of song where it talks about, don't be racist, don't be an asshole. It's like basically just, be a good person. Yeah, it's harder to wrap your head around what's going on in the world, but it does fuel the fire.
Well, musicians always seem to have a bigger voice than even politicians, so it's wonderful.
It would seem that way.
It's wonderful that you're a part of all of that. Bexley, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to chat with me about the new single, the upcoming EP, and hopefully we can catch up after the EP comes out and talk a little bit more in depth.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.